The holographic display flickered to life in the center of the Galactic Council chamber, casting blue light across the faces of 12 different species. The footage was crystal clear. Nexus Station 7, Market Sector, timestamp showing 3 days prior. The camera angle captured everything. A small human child walked through the crowded marketplace, her brown hair tied back in a simple ponytail. Lucy Reeves was only 6 years old, barely reaching the waists of most adults around her. She held a small toy in one hand, something that beeped and flashed with colored lights. Her mother was 2 steps ahead, looking at a vendor's display of exotic fruits from the outer colonies. Officer Velara stood near the security checkpoint, her insectoid form rigid and imposing. The Crithian species valued order above all else. 4 arms, compound eyes that saw in spectrums humans could not imagine, and an exoskeleton that gleamed under the station lights. She was conducting a routine inspection, her scanner sweeping over passing civilians. Lucy did not see the officer. She was watching her toy the way children do when something captures their complete attention. 3 steps. 2 steps. She bumped into Valera's lower left arm. The strike came instantly. Valera's upper right arm swung down in what her species considered a corrective tap. For a Crithian child it would have been nothing. For a human child it was devastating. The crack echoed through the marketplace. Lucy's scream followed immediately after. She crumpled to the ground, her right arm bent at an angle that made several nearby species turn away. The toy clattered across the floor, its happy beeping sound absurdly cheerful against the child's cries. Derek Walsh was 20 meters away when it happened. He had been reviewing supply manifests on his datapad, just another human doing routine diplomatic work on the station. His head snapped up at the sound. His body moved before his mind fully processed what he was seeing. Medical. I need medical to Market Sector 7, immediate. Derek's voice cut through the growing crowd as he ran. His fingers were already on his communicator, already sending the priority alert. He dropped to his knees beside Lucy, his hands hovering over her but not touching, knowing that moving her could make things worse. Rachel Reeves pushed through the crowd with the strength only a terrified mother possesses. She saw her daughter on the ground, saw the arm, and her face went pale. But her voice stayed steady. Lucy baby, I'm here. Don't move, sweetheart. Help is coming. Other humans in the marketplace converged on the scene. A merchant named Tom abandoned his stall. A technician called Sarah left her repair work. A teacher named Frank stepped between Velara and the child, his stance protective but not aggressive. Not yet. Station security arrived within 90 seconds. They were Quellen, a species known for neutrality and fairness. The senior officer took one look at the scene and immediately called for backup. This was bad. This was very bad. Derek stayed with Lucy until the medical team arrived. Human doctors, thankfully. They had a small clinic on the station, just enough to handle emergencies for the 300 humans who lived and worked here. They brought a medical scanner and a portable stretcher designed for human children. Compound fracture, the doctor said quietly to Rachel. Both radius and ulna. We need to get her into surgery immediately. Velara stood frozen. She had not moved since the strike. Her translator device clicked and buzzed as she tried to form words. The child violated security perimeter. Protocol requires. Shut up. Derek's voice was not loud. It did not need to be. The 2 words carried weight that made even the Quellen security officer step back. Do not say another word. The medical team lifted Lucy onto the stretcher. Her crying had quieted to small whimpers, shock setting in. Rachel climbed into the medical transport with her daughter, holding her good hand, whispering reassurances that everything would be okay. Derek watched them go. Then he turned to the Quellen security chief. I need copies of all security footage. Every angle. I need witness statements from everyone who saw what happened. And I need it within the hour. Sir, we have protocols for incident investigation that require. Within the hour. Derek pulled out his diplomatic credentials. This is now a matter of human security interest. Ambassador Cole will be filing formal complaints with both station administration and the Galactic Council. You can cooperate now, or you can explain to 12 species why you obstructed a legitimate investigation. The security chief's skin changed color, a sign of distress in his species. Yes, sir. Within the hour. Derek activated his long-range communicator as he walked toward the diplomatic offices. This is Walsh, Priority Alpha. I need direct connection to Ambassador Cole immediately. The response came back within seconds. Connecting now. Griffin Cole's face appeared on the small screen. The ambassador was 3 systems away, attending a trade negotiation. His expression was calm the way it always was. Derek. Report. Derek told him everything in 2 minutes. Clear, concise, no emotion in his voice. Just the facts. A Krithian officer struck a human child. The child's arm was broken. The officer claimed protocol justification. Medical team was in surgery now. Cole's expression did not change, but something in his eyes went very cold. Transmit all evidence to my ship immediately. I'm canceling the negotiations and returning to Nexus Station 7. ETA 16 hours. Sir, there's something else. Derek paused. Word is spreading. The humans on this station are angry. Really angry. I've had to talk down 3 separate groups from confronting Velara directly. And messages are going out on all the private channels. Let them talk, Cole said. But make it clear that no one takes action without my direct order. We handle this the right way. We handle this through proper channels. Understood, sir. Cole leaned closer to the screen. Derek, is the child going to be okay? Doctors say yes. Full recovery expected, but she'll need bone regeneration therapy. Few weeks of treatment. Good. That's good. Cole was quiet for a moment. Contact Captain Morris on the cargo hauler. Steady hand. She's 2 days out from the station. Tell her to push her engines and get there in 1 day. Then contact the colony patrol ship Vigilant. Then the research vessel Discovery. Get me a list of every human ship within 3 systems and their current locations. Derek felt something shift in the conversation. Sir, are we expecting trouble? No, Derek. We're making sure there won't be any. Cole's smile was thin. The Council needs to see that humans take attacks on our children very seriously. They need to understand what we are before they make any more mistakes. The connection ended. Derek stood in the corridor for a moment, thinking about what the ambassador had just ordered. Then he started making calls. Within 6 hours, 47 human ships had changed course. Military vessels from colony defense forces. Armed merchant cruisers that normally hauled ore and grain. Even a few private yachts owned by wealthy humans who had served in the military decades ago. They all received the same message. They all responded the same way. They were coming to Nexus Station 7. They were coming for Lucy. The Galactic Council met in emergency session 12 hours after the incident. Not because of Lucy Reeves. Not yet. They met because Velara had filed an official complaint, claiming a human child had endangered station security and that she had acted within proper authority. The council chamber was smaller for these preliminary sessions. Only 6 species present, not the full 12. The Krithian representative spoke first, her voice translated into perfect galactic standard. Officer Velara followed established protocol. The human juvenile approached a restricted security zone without authorization. Corrective action was necessary and appropriate. The Quellan diplomat shifted uncomfortably in his seat. The security footage shows the child was simply walking through a public marketplace. There was no restricted zone. All areas within 3 meters of an active security officer constitute temporary restricted zones, the Krithian replied smoothly. This is standard procedure across all Krithian operations. The child's guardian showed negligence in supervision. The other species nodded. To them this made sense. Different cultures had different rules. The humans would complain, there would be some negotiation, perhaps a small fine paid, and everything would return to normal. This happened all the time when species with different customs interacted. I propose we issue a formal statement, said the Valorian Council member, his 3 eyes blinking in sequence. We acknowledge cultural differences, recommend mediation between parties, and consider the matter resolved. Agreed. 5 of the 6 species indicated agreement. The Quellan representative abstained but did not object. The preliminary ruling was transmitted to all parties within the hour. Cultural misunderstanding. Mediation recommended. Case closed. Derek read the council's statement on his datapad and said a word that would have made his mother wash his mouth out with soap. He was in the human diplomatic office, a small suite of rooms on the station's administrative level. Around him, 3 other staff members worked at their terminals. They're calling it a cultural misunderstanding, he said to no one in particular. Tom, the former merchant who had closed his stall to help Lucy, looked up from his desk. Are they blind? Did they not see the footage? They saw it. They just don't care. Derek pulled up another screen, this one showing ship positions around Nexus Station 7. The display was getting crowded. How many now? Sarah, the technician, checked her own terminal. 47 confirmed. 3 more inbound ETA 4 hours. The station's traffic control is starting to ask questions. Derek smiled, but there was no humor in it. Let them ask. The ships had arrived quietly over the past 12 hours. No announcements. No fanfare. They simply appeared at the edge of the station's patrol zone and took up positions. At first, station control thought they were waiting for docking clearance. Then they noticed the ships were not requesting to dock. They were just waiting. The cargo hauler's steady hand held position at bearing 045, her engines idling but ready. Captain Morris had pushed her ship hard to arrive early, and her crew was tired. But they were here. The colony patrol ship Vigilant maintained station at bearing 180. She was small as military vessels went, designed to chase off pirates and inspect suspicious cargo. But she had weapons and everyone could see them. The research vessel Discovery sat at bearing 270. She had no weapons at all, but her crew of 43 humans had made it clear they were not leaving until the situation was resolved. 44 more ships surrounded the station in a loose sphere. Freighters, passenger liners, mining vessels, even 2 luxury yachts whose owners had flown in from their private colonies. Every single one carried humans. Every single one was waiting. Station Control finally sent a message to the Human Diplomatic Office. Please advise the purpose of the human vessel concentration around Nexus Station 7. Derek replied within 60 seconds. Human ships are exercising their legal right to free navigation in neutral space. They are not violating any traffic protocols or station regulations. Their presence is causing concern among other species. Then perhaps the council should address the reason for their presence. The conversation ended there. In the medical wing, Rachel sat beside Lucy's bed. The surgery had gone well. The doctors had used bone regeneration technology that would have seemed like magic a century ago. Lucy's arm was in a support brace, but the bone was already knitting back together. 2 more weeks of treatment and she would be fine. Physically. Mama, why did she hurt me? Lucy's voice was small. I didn't do anything bad. Rachel smoothed her daughter's hair back from her forehead. I know, baby. You didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes people make mistakes. But she's not sorry. Lucy had heard the news reports, seen the council statement on the room's display screen. They said it was okay that she hurt me. Rachel felt rage boil up inside her chest, but she kept her voice gentle. The council made a mistake too. But there are a lot of people working to fix it. Uncle Derek is working very hard. Will the bad alien come back? No, sweetheart. I promise you she will never come near you again. Derek arrived at the medical wing 20 minutes later. He brought chocolate from the station's human market, the kind Lucy liked. He also brought news. Ambassador Cole arrives in 4 hours, he told Rachel outside Lucy's room. He's bringing the evidence files and formal charges. The council will have to convene a full hearing. Will it matter? Rachel's voice was tight. They already made their decision. They made a preliminary decision based on incomplete information, Derek said carefully. Now they'll see the complete picture. And if they still rule against us? Derek was quiet for a moment. Then he pulled up his datapad and showed Rachel the ship position display. 47 dots surrounding the station with 3 more on approach. Then they'll have to explain their decision to them, Derek said. Rachel looked at the display. Her eyes widened. Derek, what is this? People who care about Lucy. People who care about all children. People who want the council to understand that humans have certain lines that cannot be crossed. Velara sat in her quarters, her compound eyes reviewing the same security footage over and over. By Crithian standards, she had done nothing wrong. The child had entered her security perimeter. Corrective action was textbook procedure. She had filed her report correctly. She had followed every protocol. So why did her thorax ache with something that felt almost like fear? The station's automated news feed was showing the human ship positions. 47 vessels. No, 50 now. More arriving every hour. The news anchors from various species debated what it meant. Some called it posturing. Others called it intimidation. The Crithian commentator insisted it was an overreaction and that the council should not be swayed by theatrical displays. But Velara had studied humans during her security training. She had read the files about Earth, about the wars they had fought, about the species that had learned not to provoke them. One fact stood out in her memory now, glowing like a warning light. Humans were classified as a Category 9 Deathworld species. The same category as the Zolthan who had once controlled 40 systems. The same Zolthan who now controlled 3 systems and paid tribute to human space. Her communicator chimed. Official message from the council. Emergency full session in 18 hours. All parties to present evidence. Attendance mandatory. Valera's primary hands trembled slightly as she acknowledged the message. Through her window she could see the distant lights of human ships. Waiting. Watching. She wondered for the first time if she had made a terrible mistake. The council chamber was full. All 12 species sat in their designated positions, arranged in a circle around the central presentation area. The ceiling stretched high above, transparent panels showing the stars beyond. And the ships. So many ships now. 73 human vessels surrounded Nexus Station 7, their running lights visible even from inside the chamber. Velara stood at the speaker's podium, her 4 arms held in the formal position of authority. Her translator rendered her clicking speech into words the other species could understand. She spoke with confidence, her voice steady. I acted within full authority granted to all Crithian security officers, she began. According to Crithian Security Protocol Section 14, Subsection 9, any individual approaching within 3 meters of an active security officer enters a restricted zone. Corrective physical contact is authorized to prevent potential security breaches. The Crithian Council representative nodded approvingly. Several other species appeared to be listening with interest. The human juvenile approached my position without authorization. She was carrying an unidentified device that produced sounds and lights. I could not determine if this device posed a threat. I applied minimal corrective force to remove her from the restricted perimeter. Velara gestured to the holographic display. The evidence supports my actions. The juvenile was not under proper supervision. Her guardian was not maintaining appropriate oversight. By Crithian standards, this constitutes negligent supervision of a minor. She turned to face the council directly. I followed my training. I followed protocol. I committed no violation of station regulations or galactic law. This incident is the result of human cultural norms conflicting with established security procedures. I request the council recognize my actions as justified and dismiss all charges. The presentation was smooth, professional, and convincing. Several council members exchanged glances that suggested they were leaning toward agreement. Then Ambassador Griffin Cole stood. He did not approach the podium. He simply rose from his seat in the observer section and spoke in a clear, quiet voice. I request permission to present evidence. The council arbiter, a being whose species was so old they had evolved past individual names, gestured acceptance. The council recognizes Ambassador Cole of humanity. Cole walked to the central area and activated the holographic display. The same security footage appeared, but this time it played at normal speed with enhanced resolution. Please observe carefully, Cole said. The footage showed Lucy walking through the marketplace. Her toy was clearly visible now, a simple children's entertainment device sold in hundreds of markets across the galaxy. It played music and flashed colors. Nothing more. Lucy was looking down at the toy, smiling. Her mother was 2 steps ahead, examining fruit at a vendor's stall. Lucy took 3 steps. 4, 5. She bumped into Valera's lower arm. The impact was minimal. Barely a touch. Valera's strike came down like a hammer. Cole paused the footage at the moment of impact. Officer Velara claims she applied minimal corrective force. The medical analysis tells a different story. Another image appeared. X-ray scans of Lucy's arm, showing the fracture lines in stark detail. Both bones broken. Complete fractures requiring surgical intervention. A human child's bones are still developing, Cole said quietly. They are more fragile than adult bones. Officer Velara struck with sufficient force to break both radius and ulna in a single blow. This is not minimal force. This is excessive force against a non-threatening child. Valera's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. I could not have known the human juvenile's structural integrity was compromised. Crithian children have fully developed exoskeletons by age 3. Then perhaps, Cole said softly, Crithian security officers should receive training on the biological characteristics of other species before being assigned to multi-species stations. The council arbiter raised one appendage. The council notes the cultural differences at play. We will hear from the child's guardian. Rachel Reeves walked to the center with her head held high. She wore simple clothing, nothing formal or diplomatic. She was a trade representative, not a politician. But her voice did not waver. My daughter is 6 years old, she began. Before this happened, she loved exploring the station. She would talk to anyone. She thought all the different species were wonderful and interesting. She wanted to learn everyone's language, taste everyone's food, hear everyone's stories. Rachel's hands clenched at her sides. Now she has nightmares. She wakes up screaming. She won't go near anyone who isn't human. The doctors say she has trauma-induced anxiety. She's 6 years old and she's terrified of half the galaxy because one officer decided a child walking through a marketplace was a security threat. We understand this is distressing, the Velara Council member said, his tone sympathetic but dismissive. Children are resilient. She will recover in time. She shouldn't have to recover from something that never should have happened. The arbiter gestured for Rachel to step down. She returned to her seat beside Derek, her jaw tight with frustration. Derek was called next. He approached the podium and spoke in the same calm, professional tone he always used. The council needs to understand something fundamental about human psychology, he said. We have strong protective instincts regarding children. All children, not just our own species. This is not an emotional overreaction. This is a core value of our civilization. The Crithian representative made a dismissive gesture. Many species claim to value their young. This does not excuse disruptive behavior. With respect, Counselor, I don't think you understand the degree of value we place on this principle. Derek pulled up statistical data. Human history shows consistent patterns. Societies that harm children face immediate and severe consequences. We have gone to war over this. We have ended trade partnerships, severed diplomatic ties, and isolated entire governments because they failed to protect children. Then humans are simply an emotional species, the Velara said. This is known. Your passionate nature is noted in your species profile. Derek smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Is that what you think those ships outside represent? Emotion. For the first time, several council members looked uncomfortable. The arbiter raised both appendages. The council has reviewed the evidence. While we acknowledge that Officer Velara's actions caused unintended harm, we find that she acted within the boundaries of her training and cultural norms. We propose the following resolution. Officer Velara will issue a formal apology to the child and her family. A compensation payment of 5,000 galactic credits will be provided for medical expenses. This matter will then be considered closed. The chamber went silent. Ambassador Cole stood slowly. His face showed no emotion whatsoever. The council's proposal is noted. I request a 10-minute recess before humanity responds. The arbiter looked surprised. Is that necessary, Ambassador? It is absolutely necessary. Very well. 10-minute recess granted. Cole walked out of the chamber with measured steps. Derek followed along with Rachel. The council members began speaking among themselves, their voices suggesting they thought the humans were being difficult but would ultimately accept the compromise. Outside the chamber, Cole activated his secure communicator. Admiral Frost, are you in position? Confirmed, Ambassador. Standing by. Execute positioning maneuver Alpha 7. An admiral? Make sure they notice. With pleasure, sir. Inside the council chamber, the transparent ceiling suddenly darkened. Every species looked up. Those with eyes capable of seeing detail immediately felt their body chemistry shift toward fear responses. A ship was moving into position directly above the council chambers. Not a cargo hauler. Not a patrol boat. A dreadnought. The kind of vessel humans built when they expected serious fighting. 300 meters long, bristling with weapons systems, her hull painted in the dark gray that meant she was active military. The ship's name was visible along her bow, HMS Unwavering. She settled into position and held station, blocking out the stars. Her weapons remained inactive, but everyone could see them. Everyone understood what they meant. The 10-minute recess suddenly felt very long. The council chamber felt smaller when the session resumed. Perhaps it was the massive warship sitting directly overhead, its shadow falling across the transparent ceiling panels. Perhaps it was the way Ambassador Cole walked back to his position, his movements precise and unhurried. He did not look angry. That was what unsettled the council members most. Anger they could understand. Anger was emotional, temporary, negotiable. What they saw in Cole's face was something else entirely. Something cold and permanent. The council has made its proposal, Cole said, his voice carrying easily through the chamber despite its normal volume. Before humanity responds, I believe the council should have access to complete information. You have made assumptions about my species. Those assumptions are incorrect. He activated the holographic display. Data began flowing across the screen, historical records from human databases. Earth, our homeworld, is classified as a Category 9 death world. The council is aware of this designation. What you may not understand is what that classification means in practical terms. Cole gestured to the data. Our planet has an oxygen-rich atmosphere that would be toxic to 6 of the 12 species in this chamber. Our gravity is considered excessive by galactic standards. Our native predators include creatures that hunt in coordinated packs, ambush hunters with neurotoxic venom, and aerial predators capable of striking at speeds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour. The Velara Council members shifted uncomfortably. Yes, Ambassador, we know humans evolved in difficult conditions. This does not. I'm not finished. Cole's voice remained calm, but it cut through the interruption like a blade. Humans developed not just to survive these conditions, but to become the apex predator of our world. We did this while raising our young through an extended childhood that lasts nearly 2 decades. Do you understand what that means? Silence. It means we evolved to protect our children in one of the most dangerous environments known to the galaxy. It means that protective instinct is not cultural. It is biological. It is coded into our DNA at a level deeper than conscious thought. New data appeared on the display. Historical records, some of them thousands of years old. Human history is filled with civilizations that rose and fell. But there is one consistent pattern across every culture, every time period, every continent on our world. Societies that failed to protect children did not last. They were destroyed either by external forces or by internal revolution. Always. Cole pulled up more recent records. In the year 2147, the Mars colony experienced a famine. Resources were limited. The Colony Council proposed rationing that would have reduced food allocation to children. Within 6 hours, the council was removed from power. New leadership was installed. The children ate first. Adults accepted reduced rations. Not one child died. He changed the image again. In 2203, the Europa station suffered a catastrophic breach. Evacuation protocols called for saving those most likely to survive the journey to rescue ships. The adults refused to board the evacuation pods. Every single child was saved. 73 adults died. They considered this an acceptable outcome. The council members were listening now, really listening. In 2276, the Kepler colony discovered that their governor had been diverting medical resources away from the pediatric ward to fund personal projects. The governor was tried, convicted, and executed within 30 days. This was considered justice, not revenge. Cole's eyes swept across the council. I could provide 500 more examples. 5,000. Human history is clear on this point. We do not compromise on the safety of children. We do not negotiate. We do not accept cultural differences as an excuse. The arbiter's voice held a note of concern now. Ambassador, are you threatening the council? No. I am educating the council. Cole pulled up a new display. As of 6 hours ago, 217 human colony worlds have suspended all cooperation with council initiatives. Trade agreements are on hold. Scientific exchanges have been cancelled. Diplomatic missions have been recalled. This is not a government decision. This is a popular movement. The citizens of those worlds made this choice themselves when they learned what happened to Lucy Reeves. The numbers on the display were staggering. Billions of credits in trade. Hundreds of joint research projects. Decades of diplomatic progress, all frozen. Furthermore, Cole continued, 73 human vessels now surround this station. They represent 14 different colony worlds, 6 corporate entities, and 27 private citizens. They did not ask permission from Earth government to come here. They did not coordinate with each other. They simply came when they learned a human child had been harmed, and the council called it a cultural misunderstanding. The communication panel activated. A woman's face appeared on the display, her uniform marking her as human military. Admiral Patricia Frost looked every bit as calm as Ambassador Cole, and somehow even more dangerous because of it. Galactic Council, this is Admiral Patricia Frost of the Human Colonial Defense Force. I am speaking on behalf of the 73 vessels currently holding position around Nexus Station 7. Her voice was measured, professional. We want to be very clear about our purpose. We are not here to threaten the council. We are not here to start a war. We are here to guarantee that Lucy Reeves receives justice and that such an incident never happens again to any child of any species. The Crithian representative's mandibles clicked rapidly. This is military intimidation. The council cannot make decisions under threat of force. Frost's expression did not change. Then let me be equally clear about what is not a threat. If the council rules that breaking a 6-year-old child's arm is acceptable behavior, humanity will withdraw from all council activities. We will close our borders to council species. We will end all trade agreements. We will consider council space off limits to human travel. This is not aggression. This is simply choosing not to associate with a government body that condones violence against children. The Velara leaned forward. You would isolate yourselves from the entire galaxy over one incident? Yes, Frost said simply. Because it is never just one incident. It is a precedent. It is a statement about what you consider acceptable. And we are telling you in the clearest possible terms that we do not accept it. Cole pulled up another file. The Council should also be aware of humanity's military history. You have records of our conflict with the Zolthan hegemony. Would you like me to review those records? The chamber went very quiet. Every species knew about the Zolthan. They had been powerful, aggressive, and confident. They had controlled 40 star systems and commanded one of the largest military forces in known space. They had made the mistake of attacking a human colony world. The war lasted 18 months. The Zolthan hegemony now controlled 3 systems and paid annual tribute to human space to prevent further conflict. The Zolthan attacked our military forces, Cole said quietly. They destroyed ships, killed soldiers, and took strategic resources. We fought them hard and we won decisively. But they attacked adults who knew the risks of military service. They never touched civilians. They never harmed children. He let that sink in for a moment. Ask yourselves what we would do to someone who did. Velara stood frozen at her position. She had not moved during Cole's entire presentation. Her compound eyes had been processing everything, and her Crithian logic centers were reaching an inescapable conclusion. She had not just broken protocol. She had not just made a cultural mistake. She had committed an act that an entire species considered unforgivable. Her communicator chimed. Official message from the Crithian government. She read it with growing horror. Officer Velara, you are hereby officially disavowed by the Crithian Security Council. Your actions were not authorized by Crithian command. You acted independently and your behavior does not represent Crithian values or policies. We extend formal apologies to the human government and to the Reeves family. Her own government had abandoned her. The Arbiter looked at the data, looked at the warship overhead, looked at the faces of the council members. Fear was spreading through the chamber like a cold wind. Perhaps, the Arbiter said carefully, the council should hear humanity's terms for resolution. Cole nodded once. I believe that would be wise. Ambassador Cole stood in the center of the council chamber, a datapad in his hand containing humanity's formal demands. The 73 ships outside maintained their positions, silent and watchful. The dreadnought Unwavering had not moved from its place directly overhead. Humanity's terms are non-negotiable, Cole began. We present them not as a request, but as the minimum acceptable resolution to this incident. He activated the display, and text appeared in every council language simultaneously. First, Officer Velara will be permanently stripped of all law enforcement authority. She will never again hold any position that grants her power over others, in any capacity, on any world or station. Valera's legs trembled. Her career, her status, her entire identity as a security officer, all ending with those words. Second, Officer Velara is banned for life from any position, employment, or role that involves contact with children of any species. This includes education, childcare, medical services, or any other field where she might interact with juveniles. The Crithian representative started to object, then saw the look on Cole's face and remained silent. Third, Officer Velara will issue a public formal apology before this full council. The apology will be recorded and distributed through all official channels. She will acknowledge her actions, take full responsibility, and express genuine remorse. Cole's voice remained level, almost gentle. It made his words somehow more terrible. Fourth, full reparations will be paid to Lucy Reeves. This includes all medical costs, ongoing trauma counseling, and compensation for pain and suffering. The amount will be determined by an independent human medical board, and payment will be guaranteed by the council treasury. The Arbiter nodded slowly. These terms were harsh but survivable. The council could accept this. Then Cole continued. Fifth, and most important, the Galactic Council will immediately establish a new juvenile protection protocol. This protocol will declare that physical violence against any species children, except in cases of immediate self-defense, constitutes a severe violation of galactic law. All incidents involving harm to children will trigger mandatory independent investigation. Cultural differences will not be accepted as justification for violence against juveniles. The chamber erupted. 6 different council members tried to speak at once. The Arbiter raised multiple appendages for silence. Ambassador Cole, You are asking us to create new galactic law based on one incident, the Velara protested. This sets a dangerous precedent for allowing single species to dictate council policy. No, Cole said quietly. We are asking you to recognize that protecting children should not be controversial. We are asking you to codify what should already be obvious. If your species truly values its young as you all claim, then this protocol should be easy to accept. The Crithian representative stood. This protocol would override cultural autonomy. It would allow outsiders to judge our internal practices. Only practices that involve harming children, Derek spoke up from his observer seat. If your cultural practices don't include that, then you have nothing to worry about. Cole looked at each council member in turn. I need to be clear about something. These terms are offered in the spirit of continued cooperation. If the council rejects them, humanity will not attack. We will not declare war. We will simply leave. Every human ship will depart council space. Every human colony will close its borders. Every trade agreement will end. You will never see us again. He gestured to the viewport. But those 73 ships outside? They represent less than 1% of human military capability. The crews of those ships came here because they care about one child they've never met. Imagine what the other 99% would do if they believed the council condones violence against children. The silence stretched long. Finally, the arbiter spoke. The council will vote on humanity's terms. All in favor of accepting the complete proposal as presented. One by one, all 12 species indicated agreement. Even the Crithian representative, after a long pause, signaled acceptance. The vote is unanimous, the arbiter announced. All terms are accepted. Officer Velara, you will now deliver your apology. Velara approached the podium on unsteady legs. Her translator struggled to render the clicks and buzzes of her native language into words that carried appropriate emotion. When she finally spoke, her voice was small. I stand before this council to acknowledge my grave mistake. Her compound eyes turned toward where Rachel sat with Derek. I harmed a child. A small, innocent child who meant no threat to anyone. I acted without thought, without compassion, without wisdom. Her voice cracked, a sound her species rarely made. I broke her arm. I broke her trust. I broke something precious that cannot be easily repaired. I caused her pain and fear that will remain with her long after her bones have healed. Tears were not possible for Crithian physiology, but Velara's entire body posture expressed devastation. I beg forgiveness from Lucy Reeves and her family. I understand that my career is over. I understand that I will never again be trusted with authority or the care of children. I accept this as just consequences for my actions. She turned to face the full council. And I acknowledge that the humans are right. Children of all species deserve protection. What I did was not protocol. It was not security. It was cruelty whether I intended it or not. I am deeply, profoundly sorry. The apology was recorded and transmitted across council networks within minutes. Velara left the chamber with her head bowed, her future now reduced to whatever work she could find that kept her away from positions of power and far from any child. Rachel watched her go and felt no satisfaction. Just exhaustion and relief that it was finally over. Ambassador Cole turned to the council one last time. Humanity thanks the council for their wisdom in this matter. We look forward to continued cooperation under the new protocols. The human vessels outside will begin departure within the hour. As promised, the ships began moving away from Nexus Station 7. One by one, they broke orbit and set course for their various destinations. The dreadnought Unwavering was the last to leave, her departure slow and deliberate, making sure everyone watched her go. 6 months later, Derek sat in his office reviewing reports. The new juvenile protection protocol had been implemented across all council space. In that time, it had been invoked 23 times. 23 incidents where children of various species had been threatened or harmed. 23 investigations launched. 23 cases resolved with appropriate consequences. How many incidents had the protocol prevented simply by existing? How many species members had stopped and thought twice before raising a hand to a child because they knew the consequences would be severe? That number was impossible to calculate, but Derek believed it was significant. The protocol was working. His communicator chimed. A message from Rachel. He opened it and smiled. The message contained a video file. Lucy appeared on screen, her arm fully healed, playing in a park on Nexus Station 7. She was laughing, running with other children. Human children, yes, but also a Velara child with 3 eyes, and a Quellan child whose skin shifted colors with excitement. She was still cautious around adults of other species. The trauma counselor said that would take time. But she was playing with their children. She was learning to trust again. The video ended with Lucy waving at the camera, her smile bright and genuine. Derek filed the video in his personal archive and pulled up his next task. A message from the Council's new diplomatic academy. They wanted human input on their updated curriculum. The course was titled Cross-Species Child Protection, Lessons from the Reeves Incident. It would be taught to every new diplomat entering Council service. They would watch the security footage. They would read the medical reports. They would study the human response and learn why it mattered. The lesson plan was comprehensive, but it could be summarized in one simple principle. Children are not negotiable. Not their safety. Not their well-being. Not their right to grow up without fear. Every species claimed to value their young. Now the Council had a protocol that proved it. Derek approved the curriculum and sent it back to the academy. As he worked, he could see through his office window to the marketplace below. The same marketplace where Lucy had been struck 6 months ago. Children of a dozen species played there now, supervised by parents and guardians who had all received new training on the Juvenile Protection Protocol. Security officers patrolled with updated guidelines that emphasized de-escalation and species-appropriate responses. It was not perfect. It would never be perfect. But it was better. And sometimes Derek thought better was enough. Across the galaxy, in diplomatic archives and military academies, in council chambers and colony schools, the incident would be remembered. Not as the day humans threatened the council. Not as the day 73 ships surrounded a station. It would be remembered as the day the galaxy learned that some things transcend culture, transcend politics, transcend everything else. Some things, like the safety of a 6-year-old girl named Lucy, are simply worth fighting for.